Hey guys, last Sunday we were looking at Genesis 44 and 45, where Joseph reveals himself to his brothers. And one of the ways he brings that about is when the boys are leaving for the second time to go back to their father. Joseph puts their money back in their sacks, and he also puts a silver cup in Benjamin's sack, and then he chases them down and falsely, the steward falsely accuses them of stealing it and doing evil. So I didn't address it in the sermon, and nobody asked about it. Hopefully some people went home and researched it a little bit, but I was just thinking later on, earlier this week, that I meant to say something about it, but since I didn't have it in my notes, I forgot in the moment to share it. Some of the research that I did about that, you should be a little curious about that. On the one hand, Joseph is a pretty godly man, and his character has been developed by God over time, and he deals with his brothers in a gracious, godly manner, even properly understanding the sovereignty of God and the goodness of God in sending him ahead of them and being there for provision. And just the fact that he's not bitter or angry at them, he's not trying to retaliate. He wants them to be at peace. He doesn't want them to blame themselves. I mean, these are all wonderful attributes in a human being. So why in the world would a guy like that have a cup that he practices divination with? So a couple of thoughts on that. Number one is, because Joseph is a godly man and has done some wonderful things and is handling things really well. He has been in Egypt for quite some time, and it is possible for him to not be perfect, to have some sinful traits. So that is a common thing in this time period and common in Egypt. And so it could be just that Joseph is not perfect, and he has a sinful practice, and that of practicing divination. So that's a thought, and that's probably true about him. Secondly, I would say that, it's only later, when God brings the Israelites out of Egypt and he gives them his law, that he gives these prohibitions against divination explicitly. And, so Joseph is living in a time where that law hasn't been given yet. He's not aware of that. So this cup, according to the research that I did, this cup that people practice divination with, that generally how it was done is that they would have this really nice cup. And a lot of times oil was put in the cup, and then water, and then based on the pattern in the water that the mixture of the oil and the water had, they would make predictions about the future. And just the visual of how that oil and water interacted. Sometimes they put the water first, then the oil. Sometimes oil, then the water. It varied, and so that's one of the ways divination was practiced. So divination is this idea of determining what a person should do based on the will of God or the will of the gods, based on this a mixture of oil and water or something in the cup like that, to kind of determine the future. So anyway, so I didn't want to completely ignore it. But a lot of times when I'm trying to do a lot, which I was trying to do a lot on Sunday, trying to cover 2 chapters, and if I just focused on chapter 44, I didn't feel like there was, a real, I would be telling a story, but I couldn't bring a whole lot of express application. So I ended up trying to do 44 and 45, and so I was in a hurry, and forgot about mentioning that part about the Divination Cup. So anyway, I would encourage you from time to time, if you have questions about the sermon or something in the Bible where I didn't address something, or you were confused about something I said, to feel free to ask. It'll help me to know that you're paying attention and that you care. Like I said, nobody brought it up. Maybe you're looking in your ESV study Bible and you already read about that. And I don't know, maybe, hopefully the ESV Study Bible has something in there about that. I haven't looked at mine. I was reading some other commentaries and all. So I'll look and see what some of the study Bibles say. But some of you probably already did that. And so I'd love to hear what you learned. Anyway, I'll see you later.